Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Nishit Kumar with the evening news. The headlines. Centre committed to development of farmers and workers, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reiterates in Rajya Sabha. Government says India has not conceded any territory as a result of agreement with China. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan says over 55% healthcare workers administered first dose of COVID-19 vaccine so far. Centre releases 15th installment of 6,000 crore rupees to states to meet GST compensation shortfall. And in cricket, second test match between India and England begins in Chennai tomorrow. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman today reiterated the centre's commitment towards development of farmers and workers in the country. Replying to the discussion on the union budget in the Rajya Sabha, Ms. Sitharaman hailed the budget as an important step towards Atmanirbhar Bharat.
A budget which is for Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's a budget which clearly draws on the experience, the administrative capacities, and also the exposure that the Prime Minister has had and his commitment towards development, growth and reform. So these three things are essentially infused in the budget in the sense it is the instrument through which Atmanirbhar Bharat is to be attained.
The Finance Minister said the budget is a blend of a stimulus package and a long-term growth model.
The attempt made in this budget is to provide a strong and such a stimulus which can bring in multiplier effect, and therefore instead of finding quick short-term solutions, even as we provide short-term quick relief for those people who so desperately need it, we are looking at also medium-term, long-term, sustainable growth.
Highlighting the major schemes of the government which she said helped people during the times of the corona pandemic, the minister informed that nearly 800 million people in the country were provided free food grains. Taking a sharp jibe at the opposition's charge of the budget overlooking the needs of the poor, Ms. Sitharaman enumerated a series of schemes by the centre which she said were all for the benefit of the poor sections of society.
In spite of all that we're doing for the poor, and more needs to be done, and that is not denied at all. More than 1.67 crore houses have been completed. Is that for the rich? Households which have been electrified under Saubhagya since 2017 October is more than 2.67 crores. Is that for the rich? Total value of orders placed on government e-marketplace is 8,22,077 crore, which is more than 8 trillion of rupees. Are they being given to big companies? They are being given to MSMEs.
The Rajya Sabha concluded the first part of the budget session following the Finance Minister's reply. The upper house had an extended sitting till 3 this afternoon before conclusion of the first part of the budget session. Initially, the first leg was scheduled to conclude on Monday. The Rajya Sabha recorded 99% productivity in the 2-week-long first part of the session. The second part of the budget session will commence from the 8th of March. Union Minister Prakash Javadekar today said that no Akashvani Kendra in the country will be closed or downgraded. Replying to questions in the Lok Sabha during question hour, Mr. Javadekar said because COVID has impacted all sectors, All India Radio and FM radios have definitely suffered.
All India Radio, FM radios have definitely suffered, but one good thing let me tell you that RJs have done wonderful public awareness duty during the COVID time, and I'm very hopeful because I'm in touch with them, I'm in touch with FM industry, and let me assure you, now things are coming better in last 2 months and all will be back on job. That's my hope, and very soon.
The Union Health and Family Welfare Ministry said that more than 55% of the healthcare workers have been administered the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine in the country. In a written reply, the Lok Sabha today, Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan informed that vaccination of frontline workers have also begun from the 2nd of this month. He said beneficiaries as prioritized by the National Expert Group on Vaccine Administration will be taken up as part of the ongoing process once substantial coverage of the vaccination of healthcare workers and frontline workers is achieved. The minister informed that 2 COVID-19 vaccines require completion of 2 dose schedules at an interval of 28 days to complete the vaccination process. He said it takes around 14 days for the second dose to develop immunity against the coronavirus. Over 75 lakh people have been administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. The Union Health Minister said India was fastest country to cross the 70 lakh vaccination mark. In the last 24 hours, more than 4,87,000 healthcare workers were vaccinated. India has supplied a total of 229.7 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccines to the global community under the Vaccine Maitrey initiative as on date. This was informed by External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Anurag Srivastava while addressing media in New Delhi.
As of date, we have supplied a total of 129.7 lakh doses to the global community. Of these, 64.7 lakh doses have been supplied as grant, while 165 lakh doses have been supplied on a commercial basis. The following countries have received supplies as gifts: Bangladesh 20 lakhs, Nepal 10 lakhs, Bhutan 1.5 lakhs, Maldives 1 lakh, Mauritius 1 lakh, Seychelles 50,000, Sri Lanka 5 lakhs, Bahrain 1 lakh, Oman 1 lakh, Afghanistan 5 lakhs, Barbados 1 lakh and Dominica 70,000. Of the countries which have received vaccines on a commercial basis, Brazil 20 lakhs, Morocco 60 lakhs, Bangladesh 50 lakhs, Myanmar 20 lakhs, Egypt 50,000, Algeria 50,000, South Africa 10 lakhs, Kuwait 2 lakhs and UAE 2 lakhs.
Meanwhile, the COVID-19 recovery rate in the country has improved to 97.32%. The health minister said in the last 24 hours, 15,858 people were discharged. With this, 1,05,89,230 have recovered from COVID-19.
The Ministry of Defence has said that India has not conceded any territory as a result of an agreement with China. The ministry said, on the contrary, it has enforced observance and respect for the line of actual control, LAC, and prevented any unilateral change in the status quo. The Defence Ministry issued a statement after it took note of some misinformed and misleading comments being amplified in the media and on social media regarding the disengagement currently underway at Pangong Tso in eastern Ladakh. The ministry reiterated that the factual position has already been clearly communicated by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in both Houses of Parliament. It said the Defence Minister's statement also made it clear that there are outstanding problems to be addressed, including at Hot Springs, Gogra and Depsang. The outstanding issues are to be taken up within 48 hours of completion of the Pangong Tso disengagement. It said the assertion that Indian territory is up to Finger 4 is categorically false, and the territory of India is as depicted by the map of India and includes more than 43,000 square kilometers currently under illegal occupation of China since 1962. The ministry said even the LAC, as per the Indian perception, is at Finger 8, not at Finger 4. That is why India has persistently maintained the right to patrol up to Finger 8, including in the current understanding with China. The ministry said that effective safeguarding of India's national interest and territory in the eastern Ladakh sector has taken place because the government has reposed full faith in the capabilities of the armed forces. It said those who doubt the achievements made possible by the sacrifices of Indian military personnel are actually disrespecting them.
Ministry of Finance has released the 15th weekly installment of 6,000 crore rupees to the states to meet the GST compensation shortfall. Out of this, an amount of over 5,516 crore rupees has been released to 23 states and an amount of nearly 483 crore rupees to Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir and Puducherry. The Finance Ministry in a statement said that the remaining 5 states, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland and Sikkim, do not have a gap in revenue on account of GST implementation. Minister of Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari today launched India's first ever CNG tractor at a function in New Delhi. Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas Dharmendra Pradhan and Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways General V.K. Singh were also present on the occasion. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Nitin Gadkari said that the CNG-based tractor will help farmers become self-reliant. He said the maintenance cost of this tractor is very low and the new technology will also reduce air pollution which happens due to diesel fuel. More from our correspondent.
The most important benefit for the farmer will be to save more than 1 lakh rupees annually on fuel costs. This will help them to improve their livelihood. The farmers can save up to 50% of the fuel cost as the current diesel prices are around 77 rupees per litre, whereas CNG is only 42 rupees per kilogram. The conversion from diesel to CNG will be beneficial as it is a clean fuel with low carbon and pollutant content. It is also economical and is non-corrosive, non-dilutive and non-contaminating, which helps in increasing the life of the engine. India is committed towards combating climate change at the highest level through its several programs and schemes. The stubble can be used as a raw material for producing bio-CNG, which will help the farmers to earn money by selling it to the bio-CNG production units in their locality. With Dipendra Kumar, Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
Chief Election Commissioner Sunil Arora has said that the assembly elections for Puducherry and Tamil Nadu would be held simultaneously. An election commission team led by Mr. Arora today wrapped up its 2-day visit to Puducherry to review poll preparedness for the upcoming assembly polls in the Union Territory. More from our Puducherry correspondent.
While talking to news persons, Mr. Arora said that the Commission is committed to ensure a free, fair, fruitful, inducement-free and COVID-safe elections.
Some party representatives suggested that elections be held conducted on the same day for Puducherry and Tamil Nadu. I would like to tell you at this stage only, and we will do it simultaneously for Tamil Nadu as well as Puducherry. You are also aware that keeping in view the social distancing norms, the number of voters at a polling booth, the norm was 1,500 earlier. Now it has been reduced to 1,000. Accordingly, for Puducherry, the number of polling stations would go up to a total of 1330.
Mr. Arora also released a book titled Sweep Activities, that is, Systematic Voter Education and Electoral Participation. He also flagged off a mobile van to carry out voter awareness among public. Chandramohan, AIR News, Puducherry.
The Election Commission team will reach Kerala tonight to assess the preparedness for the upcoming assembly elections. The team, led by Mr. Arora, will hold a series of discussions in the state till the 15th of this month. In Uttarakhand, search and rescue operation for the 25 to 35 people trapped inside the Tapovan tunnel in Chamoli continued throughout the day. Chairman and Managing Director of NTPC Limited, Gurdeep Singh, also visited the site and reviewed the progress of rescue operation. To know more about the current developments, let's go live to our correspondent Sushil Chandra Tiwari, who is at Ground Zero in Chamoli. Sushil, what is the latest you have on the situation there?
Well, Valsa, the rescue and search operation continued throughout the day today, apart from the few hours due to the rise in the water level of Dhauliganga River. The good news is that the second attempt to reach to another small tunnel, which is beneath the present tunnel, where rescue operation was going on, is successful, and NDRF teams have drilled more than 11 meters. The second tunnel is at 13 meters, so we are hopeful that they will reach to the second tunnel very soon and will be able to get an idea about the people who are trapped there. Meanwhile, another concern is the lake formation in the upper Himalayan region from where Rishi Ganga river originates. A team of experts from DRDO and NDRF conducted the recce through helicopter today, and Chief Minister of State Trivendra Singh Rawat today said that there is no need to panic. He assured that scientists are working on the lake formation and if need arises, then they are planning to airdrop experts for review also. Valsa?
Right. Thank you, Sushil, for that update.
India has called on the leadership of Myanmar to work together to resolve the differences in a peaceful and constructive manner. Speaking at the 29th Special Session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, UNHRC, Permanent Representative of India to UN, Indramani Pandey, said that recent developments in Myanmar are a matter of deep concern as they will affect the progress of democracy in that country. He asserted that restoring democratic order should be the priority of all stakeholders in Myanmar, and the international community must lend constructive support to people of Myanmar. He said the hopes and aspirations of the people of Myanmar have been dealt a blow by the latest developments, and India strongly believes that the rule of law must be upheld and detained political leader should be released. However, the UNHRC special session, China and Russia called the Myanmar situation its internal situation. China said all must respect Myanmar's sovereignty and political independence. Russia, in its address on the Myanmar, backed the military government. It said that attempts to place the latest events on the human rights plane are political and not justified.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio.
Welcome back. And now here is a review of proceedings in Parliament today. First from the Rajya Sabha, writer is Namita Tiwari of the PTI. The Rajya Sabha has concluded the first part of the budget session today with Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman replying to the discussion on the Union Budget 2021-22. The House is scheduled to reassemble on the 8th of March 2021. Finance Minister said the government is looking at medium and long-term sustainable growth that will keep India in that kind of growth trajectory which will maintain the country as one of those fastest growing economies in the world. Criticizing the opposition for creating a false narrative around the budget being pro-rich, she said the government has provided free food grains, gas and houses for the poor. She said the budget is the instrument for making India an Atmanirbhar Bharat at a time when economies across the globe have suffered due to the COVID pandemic. She said an attempt was made to provide a strong stimulus which can bring about a multiplier effect. She said instead of finding quick short-term solutions, we provided short-term quick relief for those people who desperately needed it. She said that despite government scheme and initiatives ranging from roads to agriculture, housing, scholarship to electricity benefiting lives of people, a false narrative was being created by the opposition that the government was working for cronies. Listing out the number of measures taken by the government for the poor, the Finance Minister said the houses completed under the PM Awas Yojana stood at more than 1.67 crore, while households which have been electrified under Saubhagya scheme since October 2017 are more than 2.67 crores. Participating in the debate, Shakti Singh Gohil of the Congress alleged that the budget helped the rich capitalists. His party colleague Dipender Singh Hooda said the budgetary allocation was reduced for the physically challenged, scientific research and the pension for the Jawans. Binoy Beshwam of the CPI alleged that in the name of Atmanirbhar, the budget is helping the capitalists of the country. Ashok Siddharth of the BSP said there is nothing in this budget for the common man. Intervening in the discussion, Minister of State for Finance, Anurag Thakur, slammed opposition parties, asking them not to use farmers for their political gains. He asserted that the 3 new farm laws will help in doubling the income of the farming community. The minister challenged the opposition to show him if it is written anywhere in the farm laws that the regime of mandis and MSP will come to an end due to the legislation. He asserted that the law has been brought to double the income of farmers and the government is committed to that. Defending the budget, BJP leader Anurag Thakur slammed opposition parties, asking them not to use farmers for their political gains, and asserted that the 3 new farm laws will help in doubling the income of the farming community. Earlier, amid the debate, Dinesh Trivedi of the Trinamool Congress announced his resignation from the Rajya Sabha, saying he felt suffocated in the House and he is unable to do anything for the violence going on in his home state of West Bengal. Responding to this, Deputy Chairman Harivansh, who was in the chair, said there is a due process for resigning from the House and asked Trivedi to submit his resignation in writing to the Rajya Sabha chairman. Earlier, in replying to supplementary questions, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said India's exports of the COVID-19 vaccine stood at around Rs 338 crore till the 8th of February. Some members also raised matters of public importance during the 0 hour. Professor Manoj Kumar Jha of the RJD demanded a high-level inquiry into the alleged irregularities in the COVID-19 tests in Bihar. Rajmani Patel of the Congress demanded that the Buddhist stupas at Deor Kothar in Rewa district of Madhya Pradesh be declared an archaeological site of national importance. B. Lingaya Yadav of the Telangana Rashtra Samiti TRS raised the issue of industrial corridor in the southern state. Muzabullah Khan of the Biju Janata Dal pitched for the constitution of a flying squad to verify the construction of toilets under the Swachh Bharat mission. K. Ravindra Kumar of the Telugu Desam Party TDP wanted the Krishna River Management Board be kept in Vijayawada and not shifted to Visakhapatnam, and Vikash Ranjan Bhattacharya of the CPIM opposed the clubbing of 9 institutes for the differently abled into 4 clusters. Ashok Siddharth of the Bahujan Samaj Party demanded the centre footing 100% of the post-matric scholarship for the members of the scheduled caste communities. Samsher Singh Dolo of the Congress raised the issue of the centre not releasing its full share of education grants for SC students to states like Punjab. Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment Thawar Chand Gehlot countered this, saying utilization certificates were not given by the state and there were other irregularities as well. Chaudhry Sukhram Singh Yadav of Samajwadi Party demanded that the government should take action against social media platform Twitter for blocking his account.
And now a review of proceedings in the Lok Sabha. Writer is Achinta Bora of PTI. The Lok Sabha has passed the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill 2021 that aims to ensure that all stakeholders get an opportunity to seek an unconditional stay on enforcement of arbitral awards where the agreement or contract is induced by fraud or corruption. Law and Justice Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said the bill seeks to check fly-by-night operators who take advantage of the law to get a favourable award by fraud. The bill intends to replace an ordinance issued on the 4th of November 2020. The minister said there is a provision in the bill that if any arbitration is awarded, an application under Section 34 can be given for setting it aside on certain grounds, and there is also a provision for a stay on Section 36 on the filing of an application. He said there was no provision to stay the arbitration award even if it is beset by fraud or corruption. The minister said we have done a very limited modification that if the court is prima facie satisfied that the agreement and award are vitiated by fraud or corruption, the court can stay it till the conclusion of the proceedings. Among other things, the bill which amends the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 seeks to do away with the 8th schedule of the Act, which contained the necessary qualifications for accreditation of arbitrators. The qualification for accreditation of the arbitrators is proposed to be prescribed by regulations to be framed by an arbitration council to be set up. Till recently, an arbitration award was enforceable even if an appeal was filed against it in the court under Section 36 of the law, but the court could grant a stay on the award on conditions as it deemed fit. As per the proposed amendment, if the award is being given on the basis of an agreement based on fraud or corruption, then the court will not impose a condition to stay the award and grant an unconditional stay during the pendency of the appeal if it has been challenged under Section 34 of the arbitration law. The bill, according to the Statement of Objects and Reasons, provides for unconditional stay of enforcement of arbitral awards where the underlying arbitration agreement, contracts or arbitral award is induced by fraud or corruption. Initiating the debate on the bill, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary of the Congress said the ordinance can be resorted to only in an extraordinary situation where it is absolutely necessary, but in this case there was no urgency. He said the proposed amendment to Section 36 may open the floodgates for frivolous litigation to stall implementation of awards, and it would lead to wastage of court time, he claimed. Participating in the debate, Biju Janata Dal member Pinaki Mishra said India scored poorly when it comes to enforcing contracts. He claimed that drafting of the bill was convoluted and there were flaws in some of the clauses of the proposed legislation. Ritesh Pandey of Bahujan Samaj Party welcomed the changes in qualifications for arbitrators for making it more broad-based. He, however, asked how the proposed amendment can challenge an earlier amendment. Supporting the bill, NDA ally JDU member Alok Kumar Suman said the proposed amendments in the law will strengthen the enforcement of contracts and will attract international investors. Meanwhile, the Parliament passed the Major Port Authorities Bill 2020, which seeks to repeal the Major Port Trusts Act of 1963. The legislation seeks to provide greater autonomy in decision-making to 12 major ports in the country and professionalize their governance by setting up boards. The bill was earlier passed by the Lok Sabha in September 2020 during the monsoon session. The Rajya Sabha passed the legislation on Wednesday with minor changes, and hence it was brought again for approval of Lok Sabha. The law aims to provide for regulation, operation and planning of major ports in India and to vest the administration, control and management of such ports upon the boards of major port authorities. During 0 hour, Congress leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary told Lok Sabha the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh gave a statement on the situation along the LAC on China border yesterday, but some points still required clarification. He wanted to know whether India through the disengagement with China, allowing the advantage it had earlier to let go. He claimed that the Chinese army had entered 18 kilometers inside in Depsang Plain in Ladakh, but the government did not specify what action is being taken against it. However, Speaker Om Birla told Mr. Chaudhary that a detailed statement has already been made by the Defence Minister, hence there was no point raising the issue again. He asked Mr. Chaudhary to give a separate notice on the issue. Meenakshi Lekhi of the BJP raised the issue of the kidnapping and murder of a naval sailor in Maharashtra's Palghar, where 2 sadhus were earlier killed. She said that instead of targeting well-known figures, the Maharashtra government should probe the cases. She said the Maharashtra government should not be seen standing with anti-India people, and if the state police cannot probe the case, they should transfer the case to the CBI. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar informed the House that a sum of 50 crore rupees has been allocated in the budget for combating air pollution in 46 cities. He said the government is going to create new infrastructure involving citizens for reducing air pollution. He also said that where there is a risk of sea level rise due to climate change, walls will be built around those areas, including Sundarbans. In Kerala, mangrove planting is being carried out to prevent the impact, he said. And that is all in Parliament Review.
In cricket, the second test of the 4-match series between India and England begins at Chepauk in Chennai tomorrow. The M.A. Chidambaram Stadium that hosted the first test match has been curated for the second test as well. The hosts will try to pull out a victory in the second test as it conceded victory to the visitors in the first one. Meanwhile, England is entering the fray with the resolve to maintain its lead and has made 4 changes in the composition of its team. More from our correspondent.
Though this is the second test match to be played out in the historic M.A. Chidambaram Stadium at Chepauk in Chennai after a long drought, this is the first one to be watched by the die-hard cricket fans in person post-COVID-19 pandemic. The organizers are enthused by the reception to the game as the tickets were sold out fully in record time. Incidentally, the last time Chennai hosted a test match has also been against England. The red ball action was held in December 2016. Though fans are allowed this time, only 50% of the gallery are thrown open to maintain social distancing. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
Now, let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital is likely to have dense fog. The temperature will hover between 10 and 27 degrees Celsius. In Mumbai, the minimum temperature will be around 21 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 34 degrees. In Chennai, the temperature will vary between 21 and 31 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will observe minimum 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 30 degrees. In Srinagar, temperature will hover between 1 and 10 degrees Celsius. Jammu will experience the minimum temperature of around 11 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 21 degrees. In Leh, the minimum temperature will be around minus 10 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 6 degrees. Gilgit will have mainly clear sky. Temperature will hover between minus 2 and 16 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will witness generally cloudy sky. Temperature will hover between 7 and 20 degrees Celsius.
In more news, in a significant move, the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir is joining hands with UK Space Agency's Programme for Collaborative Project on Impact-Based Flood Forecasting using Earth Observation-Based Information. The National Space Innovation Programme is a new programme established by the UK Space Agency which supports collaborative projects between UK organisations and international partners. The Mughal Gardens at Rashtrapati Bhavan will be open for the general public from tomorrow. The gardens will remain open till the 21st of March and people can visit between 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. except on Mondays. As precautionary measure, walk-in entry will not be available this year. Visitors will be allowed to see the gardens only through advance online booking. Visitors have to follow COVID protocols. Entry and exit for all visitors will be from gate number 35 of the President's Estate. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Centre committed to development of farmers and workers, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reiterates in Rajya Sabha. Government says India has not conceded any territory as a result of agreement with China. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan says over 55% healthcare workers administered first dose of COVID-19 vaccine so far. Centre releases 15th installment of 6,000 crore rupees to states to meet GST compensation shortfall. And in cricket, second test match between India and England begins in Chennai tomorrow. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.